Father, we're grateful for this evening to be together and grateful for fun friendships that we get to develop across technology and throughout our experiences at BYU Idaho. And ask that please bless us as we discuss this fun case tonight, that we can learn together and grow and be able to apply some of these principles that we learn in our future business developments. And we say things in Jesus Christ.
Amen.
Amen.
Does anyone have a spiritual thought that they would like to share?
I kind of do. Speaking of babies, my sister actually just had a baby today, and
Nice.
so I got to go see him tonight. He's super cute. And it just got me thinking, which I'm sure you've been thinking a lot, Jesse, about the pre-existence, and about these little tiny babies that come to us, and how they were in our Heavenly Father's presence, and how they have such a spirit about them, and really our purpose in this life is to come down and gain a body and gain experiences, and to come to families and really follow Christ's plan so that we can be with him again and be with our families forever. And it just really kind of took me back to what we're really here for, and it's just a good reminder to remember where we came from and where we're going, and who we get to see, at the end of all this, our Savior Jesus Christ, and if we're true and faithful. And so I just wanted to share that with you guys and share that little reminder about who we are and where we're going. So
thanks, Katie.
Yeah.
Thanks. That was good.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. That's awesome.
I'm excited for my little Nino.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
Completely different view on Heavenly Father's purpose. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. Thank you for sharing that, Katie.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess we'll go ahead and get started with the case. So question number 1 is, what made Noodles & Co. an attractive opportunity for Aaron Curry in 1995?
Oh, I'll answer that a little bit. So something I think was, well, he was talking about how noodles are the most internationally eaten food, I guess, and also that it's not like a class. It is not like, he was saying how emperors and even just anybody, peasants, would eat them too. I don't know if he was in China at the time or what not, but anyway, he was saying how pretty much anybody eats them, and it's the most international food. So I thought that was interesting, and that's one of the reasons I think he thought it was a good opportunity. Also just because he decided to have not just noodles like from Asia or something, but he had them from everywhere. He could every kind of international, which was pretty cool. I don't really know many other restaurants that do that kind of thing. So yeah, I think it was a pretty good opportunity, just because he thought there was a demand, and then also other people and himself too saw a demand for it. That's how I got that.
This wasn't in the case, but I had the thought of, because he kept talking about how fun these noodles were. But I also had the thought of, when I go grocery shopping, noodles are really cheap. Like his costs are going to be super low, but then he can also have this really fun, casual, almost classy restaurant at the same time.
Yeah.
Plus noodles is just water, and there's nothing to it. Just some spices maybe. There's nothing expensive. Yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah, I really liked what they said in the case. It was saying like a decade ago it would have cost a consumer like almost $20 to go out and eat, but they were saying that that when they could have made that same dish for $10 at home, but now they were saying that Noodles and Co. Was able to make a dish for like $12.50 for the same, when it would have cost $10 to make at home. So it was just kind of like that convenience that you were paying for, and obviously the quality of the food that they offer. But I thought that was really interesting.
Has anybody ever eaten at Noodles and Company?
No.
I have.
Never heard of it.
We have two in Tulsa. Like one's a corporate store, and then one's a franchise store.
Oh, that's
You
interesting.
eat that?
No.
Was it good?
No. Every time I read this case, I'm like, oh yeah, I need to go by there. But it's only been in Tulsa maybe a year and a half. So it's still a really big store.
I've had some like good like udon or whatever at like some restaurant in Hawaii.
Huh.
Whatever you call that stuff, udon. I don't know.
Huh.
That's probably not even a word, but whatever.
Is it pasta like?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like a noodle soup.
Huh.
Whatever it is.
Oh,
I don't know
that's
if you guys
cool.
you probably don't know what I'm talking about. My bad.
You're good. I've eaten at Noodles and Company before, just once, and it was probably 4 or 5 years ago, but it was good. I see them around a lot, but it's not somewhere I go very often. So reading this case, I'm like, oh, maybe I need to try that out more.
But where was Noodles and Company located when you went and ate there?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, sorry. It was, I knew you were talking to me. It wasn't registering. In Salt Lake.
Okay.
Huh.
Was it in kind of like an uppity scale area? Because like the two that are located here is in, one's in the place called Broken Arrow, which is a very homey community. Like people don't really work in Broken Arrow, but like tons of people live in Broken Arrow. It's not really a suburb, but it's like, I don't know, it's where everybody, it's like a kind of uppity, upscale area, and people just live there. Like not tons of businesses. It's just like this huge area where people just live. Almost everybody like works outside of Broken Arrow, but tons of people live there. And the other area is right next to like the largest mall in the town. So it's also like another upscale area. And so like,
yeah, ours is by a mall, a big mall.
Yeah.
Or at least the one I went
like
to.
Fancier areas, like you don't find them. You know how like you can find a Wendy's kind of like wherever. But these Noodles and Company places are kind of almost like strategically placed in places where, people that are, they're busy, probably like, the typical, soccer moms, they don't have time to go and get stuff. So they want to get a healthy, quick meal for their family. So they're going to stop by Noodles and Company on their way home type thing.
Smart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I wonder if they have a way for takeout though, because they have China bowls, but I wonder, because how would you like? I guess you could just use styrofoam like cups or bowls or something, but
yeah,
I wonder if they had takeout. But
they do. Well, it's not like a drive-through. They don't have a drive-through, but they have quick like order to go, and you just take it home with you.
Oh, okay.
Awesome. Does anyone have any other thoughts before we move on?
No, go ahead.
Okay. So number 2 is what caused the company's early struggles, and why do you think so?
All right. Well, I think one of the things that caused their early struggle was they weren't really. It didn't seem like they had the recipes or the just in general like very well down. It seemed like they kind of threw something together, and it seemed like because they hadn't even checked out other noodle places, I guess, and they realized once after 4 months of doing it that oh, we're like not making any money, or like, you know, we're. So I was like, I thought that was kind of crazy. Like they finally had their accounting done, and they're like, wow, we're not even making money. We're like losing money. And so, so I thought that was pretty crazy. And that they went and just jumped in a van and like hit a bunch of stores up or whatever in Chicago or something like that. It's like, I just thought that was really, really interesting that they could have kind of honestly just, it seemed like they kind of didn't pay attention to the most important thing. I would say it's like, is your product, you know? So that's about.
Yeah.
So that's what I thought. But
Yeah, because they didn't have any way to track sales or anything, right? It was just kind of like they're just hoping for the best for that first couple stores.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, they kind of got going without really planning things out very well, and I don't think they really understood what the customer wanted too. It wasn't until later when they kind of looked more into the customer values and all that, and really got the menu and good tasting food on there that customers liked, that then they really started doing better.
Yeah. And the psychographics, demographics.
Mhm.
Yeah. And knowing like their first store wasn't very strategically placed, but the second one was a lot better, and the third one or fourth one or something like that was better too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think once they like started building their own stores, so they actually had like their own flow, and that actually worked for them versus just going into whatever facility they could find.
Yeah, and do like a strip mall or somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought it was really cool actually how he had you know, he learned from marketing that you can't just test one specific, you know, if you're gonna test the validity, I guess the minimal viable product, I guess, or whatever of the company, you know, you can't just take it from one place and expect it to work. You have to take it from multiple places, which is kind of ridiculous as well, in my opinion. Like, not in a bad way, but kind of crazy, like kind of risky, I guess you could say, because like you're failing, your company's failing, and you're like already thinking about expanding a ton. So, yeah.
Is that like go big or go home?
Yeah. Yeah, they had that kind of mentality, I guess.
Yeah, I was kind of noticing that as well. It's like the operational side needed a lot of work. And like you were saying, I think it was said in the case that their food wasn't that great either when they first started, but
Yeah.
yeah.
They have really cool company culture, though.
Yeah,
What was that?
Culture seems really cool.
Yeah, their company culture, like.
Oh yeah.
I mean, even being like a manager and being told that like I can't work there, or having a rule of like, you know, they're only going to make me work like 45 hours a week, you know, not like 80 or whatever higher it was.
Mhm.
Like, that sounds exciting, but at the same time, like, I don't know. If I was the owner and feeling like I have to do everything, I'd probably want to be there a whole lot longer, just to make sure it was done right. But at the same time, you have to have a life outside. So.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Well, he did say he missed his daughter's first birthday. That he was opening the third store during her birthday, which is kind of like, wow, what a jerk. I'm just kidding.
But at the same time, it's her first birthday. She's not going to remember it. But at the same time, it's her first birthday. So I can see both ways.
Yeah, I know. She's going to remember that for her whole life. What are you talking about? Just kidding. Yeah, I agree, though. Definitely the culture was cool, like how they got them to have share in the company and make them feel like kind of like owners, even though they weren't at all. But like, they can be like, oh, sweet, you know, I'm going to take charge and make this actually do good and not just get a paycheck, which is cool. It's a good idea.
Well, their bonus incentives sounded really awesome.
What was that, Matt?
Matt say?
Oh, I was just saying, like even the dishwashers it said got bonuses and stuff if they performed. I thought that was cool.
Mhm.
Oh, that is cool.
Yeah, and I liked how I think it said at one point like people in like managers in corporate and stuff would even have to go and work at like a cash register or at some store for one day. Was it one day a month? I don't know, just to remember who they were actually serving and the customers and the frontline workers. I thought that was pretty cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, I don't remember that part. Kind of had to skim some of it, but.
What did you guys think about their mantra? Like every customer, every bowl. I have to look it back up again.
Every time.
Customer, every time.
Every customer, every bowl, every time. I thought it was cool / confusing, but.
What do you think it's like possible, or do you think it's just like a saying? Because it sounded like he was really passionate about it. Like every single time we're gonna make it right with the customer.
Right. I mean, yeah, I think it's a good idea. Like pretty much customer service is our main priority. I think most businesses nowadays have to be like that. My opinion.
At least they should probably at least strive to be that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if you look at successful companies, and especially like with the food market, I guess, fast food and whatever, definitely, for instance, like Chick-fil-A, they are super picky on who they choose to manage their stores, and who the people that work there have to be extra friendly and say certain things in a really, considerate way and stuff.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Maybe.
My husband worked at a Chick-fil-A, and it always drove him crazy. But he always had to say like "my pleasure," and so every once in a while when I tease him, if he says something, I go "my pleasure." He's like, "Don't do it."
Yeah, that's funny.
That's awesome.
You should say "as you wish" instead.
Or just simple thank you, like, or you're welcome.
That's funny. Alrighty. So I think we're on number 3. So what role should the franchising play in the company's growth?
I was really for the franchising option. Like it seemed like to me, everything that they wanted could actually come from the franchising. They would get good managers, people that wanted to take part in the company, that really wanted to see it grow, and they would also be able to get people that would bring their own capital to be able to fund the store. Whether they built the store on their own, or corporate built it and they just decided they wanted to run it. But I didn't see any downsides to it.
I think that's kind of his method already. Like, obviously he wasn't doing franchises, but he was giving away the equity, not giving it away, but he was doing such heavy funding through just whatever, and selling his shares, which was crazy how much his shares went up, by the way. Anyway, yeah, so I think like he already had that same kind of mentality, and it says how he was feeling like distant from the customers or whatever, and kind of getting into his company was growing so fast. It was like he was worried he was having to do so much and to try to kind of hold it all together and make sure at the same time to keep his employees like focused on benefit, like being actually caring about the company. And so I think there's already his mentality in a way of kind of handing it off to other people. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like he handed off. Yeah, sorry, Christina, go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead. I'll say mine after.
Well, like how he'd kind of you know, because you can't manage all those stores by yourself, even though that you're corporate owned. But yeah, the training I'm sure had to be very thorough, and the hiring process, you know, was very thorough, and because of those things, then you can teach people, you know, about the company culture and how to respond to customers, and if he's already doing that, then he can kind of take that and transfer it over to the franchising and train people that way, and this is how we want our business run, and it just seemed like it would kind of ease in, like you were saying, Jesse.
Right. Well, he said he only had like, I think it was like 22% of the company in equity, you know, the equity left. Like he'd sold the other, however much, you know, something, 78, sorry, can't count. Yeah. He'd sold a lot of it.
Wasn't he needing like 80 million to open up the other 200 something stores?
It was a ton.
Yeah, that's what I was
Probably.
also noticing. I'm like, I think it was like a 45% growth rate. I'm like, that's like almost doubling the amount of stores that you have in a year.
Mm-hmm.
That is super quick.
Yeah, the guy was like crazy. He just wanted to keep growing like a ton. I almost wonder if it. I mean, what do I know, right? But like, I wonder if it's like he was almost like, yeah, kind of sacrificing his ownership of the company a little too much in a way. I don't know, because like, I just feel like you would want to grow, but at the same time, you wouldn't want to just lose your whole company. It's like you know, your whole company, you're pretty much. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think if you franchise, I don't think the franchisees get any equity really in the company. I mean, they become like owners of that location, but I don't really know if they actually get like a decision making. I don't know. I mean, they probably get like stock, but I don't know if it's really going to be enough for them to be decision makers.
Yeah, but what about with? I mean, like how he sold all the, you know, saying how he sold the equity before before the franchise. Like, I mean, he's thinking about franchising, you know what I'm saying? But before the franchise, even, I guess, it seemed like he just kind of gave away so much of his company. I don't know. Is that just? I know that's not like one of the questions, but I'm just asking you guys, like, doesn't that seem like kind of almost like kind of wasting his ownership a little bit? Like not wasting it, but like, I don't know.
No, I
like
think you're
giving
saying.
it so much of it. He gave so much of it away, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it seemed like he was in such a hurry. He gave away all of his equity instead of just hanging on to it and growing slowly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that a huge rush to grow? I don't know why he was. It seemed like he was really like intense about getting it as big as he could super fast, you know?
Well, then he's saying like first to the areas. Like you want first to market or either best in the market.
What? First to the market, not what?
Yeah, like first in the market or best in the market. Wasn't he saying something like that?
Oh yeah, about the IPO.
All the markets first.
What do you mean exactly? I'm sorry.
Like, so I mean, you can jump. I mean, if you jump into a market like Tulsa, like I used to, I work with a guy that he used to own a restaurant in the Tulsa area, and the reason they actually chose to move to Tulsa and to start a place here is because of I guess Tulsa has a wide, diverse group of people that actually goes to restaurants and actually goes out to eat, and so there's a really high population of people that actually go out to eat in the Tulsa area, and so it's what was he saying? It's kind of like if a restaurant, just like a local restaurant, if a starting out restaurant can make it in Tulsa, they can actually make it anywhere in the nation. Just because of the crazy amount of people that go out to eat. And I'm like, I'm not one of them, but okay. And so that was why they chose to like start their restaurant here. And so, I mean, so if Noodles and Company comes and if they were brand new and was trying to jump into the Tulsa market, they already have like a ton of competition. And now they have to become the best in the area against their competition. Whereas if they went to other new markets that can have a lot of, quick. This isn't really like I don't think of Noodles and Company as like a fast food place like Wendy's or McDonald's or anything like that. Even though they're owned by McDonald's, which I found hilarious. No, sorry. What is it? Chipotle. Chipotle's owned by McDonald's.
Yeah, I noticed that too. I read that too.
So it's or if they're like Chipotle or something like that. So they're trying to be your option to fast food. So if there's all these different companies like Panera that are expanding super quick, they're already in the market. So if he can get there first, hopefully he can get more of the market share before other companies can get there.
Got it.
So
or maybe if somebody else tries to kind of clone him, right? Too.
Yeah. So he
try to
can
take his
get
idea
the market first, or then he has to compete of being best in his market to get the market share.
Okay. Well, I have a question. If he did do that and he lost so much of his share in the company, he can buy it back, right? He can buy his shares back.
Yeah. It has to be at the current valuation, though.
Yeah, maybe a bad idea.
Well, I remember talking with Brother Mitchell, and no. This was in like a message or something he posted on one of my case studies, and he mentioned that even though we might give up some of our, like you might give up some of the shares you have in the company, is it worth it to have a smaller portion of a big amount of money or have a large portion of a small amount of money?
It's a good point.
I guess the smaller portion of a larger company, I guess. Yeah, I guess so.
I couldn't quite decide which. I don't know if I want to give up the my rights and my decision option making and let it expand on its own. Like if it's ready to expand, like give it all it needs so that it can do what it needs to do, and if it's going to do, or if I'm too scared to let it go.
Yeah, it's honestly, well, it was crazy though too. Though he went from 25 cents a share to like $60 or something.
Wow.
Wasn't it $60? I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Was that one of the exhibits?
No, that wasn't just the reading. Let's see. Let me see. It's on. Yeah. Let's see.
Page 7, maybe.
Yeah, 7. Yeah, it says he went from 25 cents. Yeah, share to. It was I can't find it, but yeah, I think it was like $60.
Yeah, that means each.
All right.
I don't know how many shares it takes to get a company. But still, that's a much bigger pot.
Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah. I guess sometimes if you have a different strategy, I mean, he's like a marketer, which he's being a marketing person. I guess we haven't had any other readings where the marketer it starts the company, is the entrepreneur. So maybe he has a different view of things, and that sometimes helps a lot when you're competing with people that may think the same. I don't know. Whatever. Yes.
You may understand more the importance of growing really quickly.
Yeah.
But
being a marketer.
Like, you grow too quickly. I mean, if you outgrow yourself, you're going to get yourself in trouble. But that's why the franchising option
seems better.
Yeah,
it was so attractive.
Put some roots in.
All the capital on his own.
Yeah, put some roots, some foundation to it, because it seems like he kind of built. It's kind of like a huge building that doesn't have a firm foundation.
Mm-hmm.
Great and spacious building.
Well, plus you get all those royalties from all those different companies, so you're still making money off of all those different companies, like all the different stores, I should say, even though they're not company owned. he's still making money off of all of them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not saying like I'm not jealous of the guy, but at the same time, like I'm just curious about it. But yeah, I guess that's my take everybody away tangent thing question.
Alrighty, and then the last question is, what are the specific advantages and disadvantages of the franchising model for Noodles, including the financial, economic, and organizational consequences?
I thought, like, organization-wise, it seemed like they had some work to do, right? Like it said their distribution channels weren't all the way established.
Right.
They had some work to do with that kind of stuff. But they also, like, their training manuals were complete, though, right? So that's a plus.
Yeah. But they also want things to be really fresh. I wonder if they would have to join up with like local farmers or something. Get any of their anything they want really fresh.
I think just kind of like what we were already saying, like the advantage is of the franchise. Like they had a lot of new stores there. They were opening and trying to open, and so just the fact of that franchises, it's kind of like they already were doing. They already given equity to their managers or whatever, making them feel like owners. I guess franchises, all right, you're not giving them equity, but you're still giving them ownership of the actual store, and so it makes them feel like it's it's my own place. I'm gonna take care of it, and they're gonna have a lot more feel of like this actually affects me if people like the store, not instead of just a paycheck. So
Does anybody know any franchise owners?
Yeah, I do.
franchise.
Yeah, my sister and her husband, they work for an ice cream place in California. It's called Brewster's. I don't know. I guess you would call them like an assistant manager alongside with the managers there. Yeah, it's kind of interesting to hear their perspective.
I was like, my very first job was for a guy that it was at a Baskin Robbins, and he owned in the area at the time. He owned three. Was it three? Yes, three Baskin Robbins. And then what happened is that Baskin Robbins came out and said that they were going to be making some changes, that he had to redo his store. He had to put up different decorations. They wanted different promo items. Their menu was going to be changing, like the style, not the stuff on it, but just the style was going to be changing. And so it ended up that he had to close down 2 stores because it was going to cost him more than he had available to redo the other 2 stores. And so he closed the 2 that weren't as high producing, and he kept this one. And I remember, was it last semester? I think it was last semester. I don't know. I had to do an interview with somebody, like a business owner. And so I was like, hey, I'll just call him. Like, I worked with him when I was 16. I'll just give him a call, It turns out, like, I called the store to find out that he had actually sold that store. And so I did this interview with the new franchise owner. And this franchise owner actually came over. Like, he used to live in England with him and his wife. And they owned a franchise, like a, what was it called? Like a cleaning service franchise thing that was over there. And like, he was super excited about the franchise and knew it was going to be great. And so they went and they got the loans and everything they needed so they could jump into it. But what turned out to happen is that this company in England, it was only like 3 or 4 years old, like maybe 10 years old. I don't know. But it was new, comparatively speaking, to like most franchises. And so they really, the name really wasn't super out there. And so his franchise really didn't do very well. He was spending most of his time actually trying to get his name out there and trying to do publicity so that people would actually know who he was. And so whenever him and his wife decided that they wanted to get out of that franchise, they started looking at other options, and they decided that they wanted to come over to the United States. And so he had heard of Baskin Robbins and was like, hey, like they're really well known. Like they've been out forever, and you don't have to explain to them, what is Baskin Robbins? Like you just say it and people go, oh, I know what it is. And so he said that one reason he chose that one, and whenever he heard it was for sale, he tried to jump on it as quickly as possible, because he wasn't going to have to spend most of his time, most of his effort, and his money just trying to get his name out there. And so he said, even though I pay the company royalties, they do my publicity. They make sure that the name stays good. So I'm actually purchasing the name. It's not just so much that I'm purchasing the store. He purchased the store and all the equipment that was there and everything, but he's purchasing the name, and that's like the biggest deal for him. He's like, I wanted to have a huge name so that all I had to say was just the name and people got it.
Right.
Like, common name, like everybody knows about Baskin Robbins. 31 flavors. It's super easy. Like,
Yeah.
but you pay for the name. That's why you have to spend like so much money to get McDonald's. But because of how long McDonald's has been around, and that every single McDonald's is set up the exact same. Their fries are always on the left side, right in the very center. On the right-hand side is going to be the ice cream. Like they're always set up the exact same. They already have the routine down. So you're paying for their routine that they've already figured out, and within like 5 years you're going to be making a profit because they've just done it so many times. And so he was like, he's explained to me all these different things of how you buy a franchise and you just kind of know what you're going to get out of it. You just got to keep working it. And so he's trying to do a couple different things and change the story around a little bit, but that was his biggest deal, is he's purchasing this name, and it's worth it to him to have the name already be a household name type thing. And I was like,
people like consistency.
Yeah,
just like with the new iPhone, not everybody buys the new one. They take a year or two before they buy it. There's obviously some people that do buy the first one, but if people like to know if it, we like to just have things that are consistent, creatures of habit, I guess. But yeah.
But like this guy, he doesn't have to go out and he doesn't have to do marketing for his name because it's already just there.
Yeah, that's pretty nice.
But I do wonder if Noodles and Company was really that big at the time, because they only had like 20-something stores when they were thinking at this point. Is that right? But they wanted to jump up to like 207 stores or so. Maybe 240. Let's go back and look at the case.
I'm sure it'd be easier to get a store too when they first were starting to. Whereas, I bet it costs more now, just like how the shares price went up too.
Yeah. Well, I also wonder if Noodles and Company ended up being one of those where they don't, like, if you're going to buy a franchise, they don't want you just to buy one little store. They might want you to open like, 2 or 3 and be able to manage all those. I wonder if that was in their agreement, is that they want you to open up more than one. So
I don't know.
I mean, maybe not, because there's only 2 in Oklahoma.
I know it's really cheap for if you're trying to open up a Chick-fil-A. It's like, I want to say it's $6,000.
Wow.
Which is insane.
Holy cow.
Yeah, that's what.
No, I'm pretty sure it's more than that. It's got to be more like 60.
No, it was like 6,000. They just are like super picky on who they choose, though. That's what I was told. Maybe it's wrong, but I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong.
Well, that would be really attractive, because like, if it's really just $6,000, that's like somebody's tax return.
I know,
Yeah.
I know it's like nothing.
Yeah. Huh. But there are actually places that are franchises that you can go online and look up franchises for sale.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah.
Like watch places and all sorts of other places. Like Sunglass Hut. I think that was one I looked up the other day. Sorry, random side topic.
Alrighty. Well, before we close up.
Sounds good.
Think so.
Sweet.
Are we doing a summary?
Well, summary. Decided as a group that franchise would be a good option for Noodles and Company. Opportunity to have more stores and not have to put forth a whole lot of capital to do so. Also, it would give opportunity to expand with operate. So yeah, I think overall we thought franchise was a good option for Noodles and Company. So.
Agreed.
And they agreed with us because I think that's what they're doing.
What was that?
I was like, and I think they agreed with us because that's what they're doing. So we advised them.
Yeah,
Good job,
true.
Noodles. Thank you for listening to us.
Yeah, they started at what 95, but our advice now is really what's kicking in.
So, okay, I'm going to stop the broadcast because I think we're done.